As as I was convoying you, huh? Okay. All right. I want some music on my VOD, so I'm gonna switch off that. It's stacked, man. All right, so we're gonna switch to some uni music. What are we gonna start on? I like Phone on Steam. We'll start on Phone on Steam. PZ does stuff. Thank you for the follow. And we're right here at 7 o'clock. So it is time to go. We'll go right into A1. This one has now Paragon. Congratulations, Paragon FGC. Big Black in the building. It's been like 4 years, 5 years coming for him to be sponsored, but he's got one of the current top tier sponsors at this point. Congratulations to BB. He's already qualified, same as Mo, who is in this bracket. Both players we will see at the Arc World Tour final in March next year. Absolutely deserved. Uh, in this pool also we have Disco, we have Tweedo, Luful, Carp in here, Thousand Force, Omnideeg, Mysterious Masher X, and Duckator. Duckator has been really grinding it here with Kaguya in the Midwest. He's been making a very quick ascension here. But without further ado, top half of the bracket. Oh, Prim, sorry. Let me not ignore Prim here. Prim is also an elite player. Eltnum from NorCal. I'm gonna be completely honest with you though. I think Big Black is going to get to winners finals. So we're not gonna talk too much about this top half, for better or for worse. But interesting matchups here. Disco Slam Donkey already is going to be a pretty contentious one. If Disco goes into Luful, I think that's going to be pretty contentious. And then the Luful Prim winner is a toss-up. I ended up picking Prim here, 2-1, but I think that one could go either way. Slam is on Kuon, okay. So Kuon Phonon if Disco is still playing Phonon here. We got Funkyard in this bottom part too. Carp and Thousand Force. Tao, I remember, used to play Aurier, but I believe in this version is on Phonon. So we get Phonon and Yuzuriha in Carp versus Tao, which is what I'm expecting is going to be the winners quarterfinals. I honestly think that Tao Carp is going to be closer than maybe people think. Carp, I would give the nod, and I actually have winning that matchup, that head-to-head. But I think that is a really contentious one right there too. I do think Duckator is going to make it to Mysterious Masher X, aka Kekazo. From what I've heard from the Georgia folks is that Kekazo has not been very active in this version of the game. But Kekazo is a nightmare for anyone to run into in bracket. So I think that this is a potential trap game right here between Omni and Masher X. I think, because they're same region, there's probably a little bit of familiarity with net play, at least from back in clear times. I picked Omni to go through here, which actually sets up for the most interesting matchup here, which is Carp versus Omni. Carp Omni, I think, is a toss-up game. I think Omni can play very locked in against Yuzu. Carp, the style of offense that I think Omni tends to run, I think is the style of offense that could give Carp trouble. And I say will give Carp trouble because I have Omni over Carp 2-1. So Carp is not in winner's side. So the final is going to be BB versus Omni. This is my pick for winners finals. We're going to have BB out in the top side, Omni out in the loser side. So those are those two here. If I'm going to be completely honest, I did think about it. I was kind of tracing the projected, grinding the all 22 or whatever for the sports heads there. Realistically speaking, I don't think that there's really anybody on the loser side that can beat Carp, especially a Carp that's going to be probably irritated that he went into loser so early. So Carp is actually my pick to get out third here. So again, this is BB1, Omnideek 2, and Carp out in 3. So we got a banger one already. We'll go ahead and shift this to B1 and move on to A2. This one, man, this one is fucked. We got Mars in here, Nicole. I don't know anything about them in regards to Undernight, but they are a top 6 candidate for current code. They play White Lin, extremely good player, really, really good. I think, I don't know if they're Seattle, but I think they're West Coast. No idea how good she is in Undernight, have no idea. Yeah, Mo and Ram being seated together is kind of crazy to me, or at least in the same pool, but there was plenty of opportunity to get switched out of there if you put the request in, so, you know, it is what it is. God Hunter here has not really actively been playing, but he's a threat. I don't think he's a threat to beat Mo, especially not having played very much. So I think Mo's going to kind of carry himself, at least to winner semifinals. On this side, Ram versus Maiko is, well, so Mouse is a pesky Line player from the Missouri area. Mouse is also a really strong DFCI player. So I think depending on how Ram feels about Mika versus Line, that could be a trap for him. But I do think, oh, wait, no. Really? Oh, yeah. Why are all the Europeans in one pool? That's crazy. Okay, so there's Bryce already. He's beating Ram no cap. I think Maiko is beating both of them. So I think we're looking at Mo versus Maiko here in winter semifinals. Down here is brutal. So we got Karma in here. We got Kite in here. Garm. They just threw all the fucking Hildas down there. Well, you're not even on that side. You got fucking Orie and Line. Potential Hyde. I think Osanabi is a Vatista from the Midwest, or at least they have the Midwest tag in the Discord. Yeah, they just threw all the fucking Hildas down here. I'm not sure if Garm is going to play all Hilda or if he's going to switch. I have run with this pool assuming that Garm is playing Hilda. And so down here, I have Garm going into Octo, Garm beating Octo. I'm not sure if Octo really has a ton of experience against the Hilda of Garm's caliber, and then there's Bolt Strike also in that area. So there's plenty of matchup experience, I think, for Garm. Captain Sugar versus ZZR is going to be an interesting one, but I think Captain Sugar, I think Tom moves on. This is actually where one of my upsets is. I actually have Tom beating Garmfield, assuming that Garm plays Hilda, at least in winter semifinals. Yeah, I wouldn't count it out, but I think Garm is an extremely good player at walling out potential mistakes. I think ZZR can make it happen, but I think the way that Tom structures and plays on defense, and his ability to like navigate the gaps and pressure would put ZZR on the back foot. So I think like Tom wins this like 65-35, basically. Karma, if you can beat Tom, that would be extremely impressive, but I don't think too many Hildas are beating this Line. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have him beating Garm too, so this is actually Mosin versus Tom in Winners Finals. And I have Mo with all of his experience against Nephros. I don't think that maybe Tom has enough experience against Kuan, especially the sheer amount of study that Mo has and the comfort that he has in the matchup. So I have Mo getting out in winners. The loser side here is honestly so fucked. It's like extremely fucked. You put basically Tom where you put Tom here. So like this is Tom Hunter, and then I think Lolly Maiko has to come through this way. I ended up picking Garm to get out of this, but I think Ram, Maiko, potentially Hunter, ZZR, Octo, All of them can make, even Mouse could make this really, really fucking awkward. So you missed pool 1, but I'll go ahead and review that when I go back to the spreadsheet. We're just going to go through here. But the losers round 4 into semifinals, anything could happen down there. Like, man, any fucking thing can happen. It's going to be crazy. But I actually have Garnfield getting out 3rd. So again, we have Mo in winners. I actually picked Tom to get out 2nd, and then we have Garm 3rd. So we will go and switch this to B2. This is Defiance pool. So there are plenty of really, really fucked up ones. I'm going to start here at the top side. We got Frank V. Ocean 9, who I think is the Seth player from the Midwest. Chex Guy, Historical Nanase, and then Defiant, who is... I mean, what else do we really need to say about Defiant? Extremely strong player, top 5 guaranteed generally when he enters the bracket. It's gonna be fucking nuts. Yeah, this is perfect time for you, Def. However, there's some real traps in here for Defiant. I think Safe versus Squish, because I do have Safe beating Shinso. Shinso I don't think has been playing this version that much. And then playing Mika into Kuon, especially a Kuon that's been playing pretty actively, is going to be really, really interesting. However, I'm sorry to my Akatsuki brethren. I've seen Safe versus Twang and Safe versus Delvey, who is an extremely raw, like crazy player. I actually have Safe taking it 2-1 here. And between you and me, I had a time picking winner semis here. I very, very nearly put Safe over Defiant. Very nearly put Safe over Defiant. So stick a pin in this winner semifinals right here. I think Safe is very good. I think he is extremely talented. So Squish does have plenty of matchup experience here, but I think both players do. I also think that Safe, because Delvey is an indulgent kind of player, and Squish can tend to be that way, I think Safe is very good on the defensive side. I just think the opportunity cost, like, I don't know, you block a flash kick and the set could be over too. I think you can beat Defy in that matchup, but nevertheless, I have Defiant actually getting to winners finals. This is one of many close calls that I'm going to have for Defiant. We'll see where Defiant actually ends up in the totality of the tournament, but I wanted to stick a pin in that because I think he could lose as early as winner semis here. On the bottom side, we have Smiles, Corn Washington Farmer, Kokurin, Gray Faden, and Miller. Extremely fucked up lower side of the bracket too. Like, Jesus Christ. I think Corn Washington Farmer Kokurin is going to be an extremely interesting one. Angsty Dragoon is not someone to overlook either. So I think this side here is going to be kind of crazy. I think that I'm going to pick Corn Washington Farmer. I'm going to be biased here. Sorry, Kokurin. I do think that Kokurin has plenty of experience against Aurier, but I think Aurier can make herself be very, very ignorant in this version of the game too. I do have Smiles beating both of them, so Smiles gets to winner semis here. I feel like I'm such a traitor to the Midwest because I do actually have Gray over Miller. I think that Miller sometimes can have struggles in the Line versus Fawn. Well, Gray is not going to play Nanase here. I don't know how comfortable Miller is against Wagner in this version of the game. Because I believe Gray is on Wagner and not on Nanase currently. I have Gray moving past Miller. And I actually have Gray. Gray is playing Eltnum. Oh, okay. Shit. I had the assumption of Wagner. Okay. Alright, well, I'm still going to pick Gray here. I do think that Miller plays against Eltnum way better than he plays against Nanase and Wagner, though. I did predict your pool. I think he knows that. I have you third getting out of the pool. I have you losing to Sugar in winners semifinals. Ad time. I don't have ads to show, so we're not gonna do that. Uh, yeah. So I have Gray over Smiles actually too. I think that had I known it was Eltnum, I might have put Smiles. We'll live with the result here. So I actually have Gray over Smiles here. So this is going to be Gray versus Defiant in winners finals, and I have Defiant winning that one. On the loser's side, it's another like pretty messed up one with Safe, Squish, and Smiles down there. So like if we look at the projections here, I think like Smiles is where Gray would have been. So this is looking like a Smiles versus Squish angle in losers quarters here, or a Smiles versus Safe angle. I actually ended up kind of like ruminating for a little while, and I picked Smiles to get out. So I do think that Smiles gets out in the loser side, but I think Miller, Safe, Squish, and Smiles all have the opportunity here. I had to pick someone. Unfortunately, I've counted my Akatsuki brethren out again. Prove me wrong, please. It's just Uni. It is what it is. Prove me wrong, but we'll go ahead and go with it. And so we'll move into A4. Yeah. A4 here, we got Mario, we got Tin Large Fries, Gumi, Poob, Lord Poob, we got Kangi, Kai, Ryazo, KFL, Shining Sphere, Storytime, Kaji, Bloodlitter, is Bloodlitter Hilda or Vat? I feel like Texas, it's like one of those two. Blood is Vat, yeah, okay, I thought so. So there's a bomb in here. If I had like the bomb drop little emote thing, I would put that here. I'm gonna be pretty blunt. I think Mario sweeps whoever comes out of here. Mario is my pick to get out in winners. I don't think, I know Kai has pushed Mario in the past. And Poob, you really don't want to sleep on Poob. Poob can scrap with the best of them. I think Mario doesn't like to get into scraps if he can help it. But I have Mario getting through here. Poob versus Kai, I think I ended up picking Kai to fight Mario here, but I think that's a toss-up too. I think Poob could definitely beat Brandon. Poob is sick. Everybody loves Poob. I'm a Poob fan. He can definitely get out of here. We got KFL. So Deadward Shining Sphere could be pretty interesting, but I think Shining Sphere is going to take that one. KFL Shining Sphere. I do think that we have strong Eltnum play here in the Midwest, but I think KFL is still about a step ahead of that. The real toss-up here is Storytime versus KFL. I think that one can go either way. I do know that Eltnum players consider the Akatsuki matchup, and most Akatsuki players probably consider that matchup to be Eltnum's favor now. KFL is really going to take an inch, or take an inch and stretch it into a mile. But like Storytime, if you let Storytime cook, it can be over for you very, very fast. So I think I do have KFL beating Storytime. I do have Kaji over Bloodletter. I actually picked, I believe, Kaji to beat KFL. Yeah, someone needs to record that one. I think we do have our recording guys. Usually it's Twang, Chris Bardo, and a couple other people that bring down cameras and things like that. So I do hope that we have more of that. We need to be recording some of these pools. Yeah, so I have Kaji over KFL, Mario over Kaji, and those are the top twos here. The bombshell that I'm going to throw in here is that I actually picked Brandon to get out of this pool. I picked KFL to drown in this pool. So keep that in mind. I think KFL, as strong as he is, can kind of get scrambled sometimes in pools. If he lets somebody get initiative, I think you can kind of run that through. I could see Brandon getting him. I could see Poob getting him. I could see potentially Storytime getting him in the run back. So KFL, I have picked to drown here. So that's like one of the big ones here. KFL, I have drowning in this pool. Yeah, if Brandon's locked in, he can beat anybody. Like he's pretty cracked. So we're gonna go into B now. I drop install. Here we got Obi Nation and Akimi. Like that's gonna be kind of a banger off the top. We got AC from Southeast. So Nonohana was Murphy, but Murphy is unable to attend. So we won't get Murphy, unfortunately. I would have liked to see how he played through this pool. I think Murphy is a really talented player too. We got default setting Tari, who I think last I saw was playing Kaguya. Cow Defenestrator. We got Spinach in here. Altanabe, aka Mr. Noodles. DAC, who is a strong Byakuya player. Mob Murabito. Mizutori Tabby and Gary Butternut down here. Yeah, Tari all in on Kaguya. This one, I do have Knots getting out in winners. I think this is one where he's relatively unlikely to drop a game here. I do think Akimi versus Knots can be potentially interesting in winners quarterfinals here. Akimi versus AC is going to be pretty crazy, especially if Akimi decides to play the Ori Mirror. So AC has a couple different characters that he can play. I'm going to assume that this is an Ori Mirror here in round 2, but we will see. Tari versus Cow Defenestrator is actually probably the most interesting match of pools here for me. Not pools in general, but this pool. I do actually have Tari over Cow. I think that, especially with Cow's current kind of mentality, and like Tari is like laid back lazy, but he still fucks you up. I don't know what sort of real experience that Cow has against Kaguya, where Tari should still understand how his character works pretty well. I think I'm going to give the nod to Tari here. I do have Tari losing to Knots. This one could be a 2-1, but I think it's going to be a 2-0 for Knots' favor. Down here, I think Spinach kind of naturally goes to semifinals here. DAC versus Mob Moribito could be interesting because we're looking at Byakuya versus Merkava here. Gary Butternubs, I think, is also strong. But all of these characters are characters that Mob Villager should have experience with. Mob Moribito, I think, is also a really strong player. So I think he'll get to winner semis here. From here, Merkava versus Carmine is not a matchup that I've seen that much in this version of the game, but I will say that I think Mob Moribito is in the area where he does have access to Carmine. Spinach has not been playing that much in the last couple months. Maybe he's been cramming recently, but I would still kind of say that I would give the nod to Mob Moribito here. Mabu. So I have Mob Moribito versus Knots, and Knots beating Mob in winners finals here. Yeah, basically. Down here in losers, I think I do have Spinach getting out. I think that Cow, Akimi, AC could all make runs here, but I think Spinach is kind of like bracket experience and Carmine's nature of like, you really only need one touch, one mistake here. Maybe, maybe not. I think Mob is a little better than a lot of people think, even though some people did get to play against him, I want to say at EVO this year. But, so this one is Knots Mob Moribito, and I think I had Spinach getting out, beating Cow, and then Tari to make it. So, yep. Here in B2, this one is the Nephros pool. We have a nice bomb right here too. Delvey versus Nephros. Uh, I think Nephros's defensive ability and the way that he structures offense could pretty swiftly diffuse Delvey, but like Delvey is a rock thrown into a pond. So the Masoma pool has not happened yet. So I think anything could happen here, but I do. So you got to tell me about Giga. I don't know anything about Giga. Oh, they're a plus R player. I see. I got you. I do have Nephros making it to winter semifinals here. I think Mygo versus Noctis could be pretty interesting. Oh, Byakuya. So Junbear, I think, also plays Line here. And I think Nephros has a very strong versus Byakuya game, even though, you know, Big Black did break him down. So I still have Nephros getting through here. We got our Lord and Savior Jesu in the lower part, but Noctis Mygo, I think, could go either way. Carmine versus Gordo, there's so many like potential traps. I think the experience for Noctis' side probably carries him through, but I do think that he could lose to Mygo. I think it's like pretty much a toss up there. Neither of them I think can beat Nephros. I think all of it is pretty comfort matchups. Carmine and Gordo for Line, like I don't think that that's going to be particularly close. Down here we have Tino, Turbo Tino, Jatsu, Klim, Rockhawk, Smart Steer, Ant Moose, Rissier, and Swuck. This one is like actually a pretty messed up one too. That said, I do have Klim, I think, making it to winter semifinals. Klim versus Turbo Tino, I think, could be pretty interesting, but I would say that Tino tends to have difficulty against like really strong defensive players, and Klim really doesn't give you too many opportunities to get started, so you have to take advantage or play that slow game and like piece him up to get him to start mashing and to get aggressive. That said, we got Rockhawk coming here. Rockhawk versus Antmoose could be interesting depending on how comfortable he is against Waldstein. That said, I think Smart Steer, if he gets to him, Rockhawk has plenty of Aurier experience, extremely talented against that character. Rockhawk is my favorite to get out into winter semifinals here. And actually, I think I have, hold on. I'm going to have to drag this over. Who did I pick here? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to hit this real quick. Drag it back. Pull it back. All right. I have Rock actually beating Klim here. So I do have Rock over Klim. I do have him losing to Nephros. So this one is a Nephros 1, Rockhawk 2 angle. I think Rock has been playing extremely well basically since the end of the last version. Pretty much a threat to top 16, top 24 at just about anywhere he goes. And then realistically, I don't think that any of the other players can beat Klim. So this is Nephros 1, Rockhawk 2, and then Klim here third out. So that is B2. We're going to switch that to D. Did I switch this one to... Nope. Okay. D1. All right. B3. This one is the 2GB Kotae Kyle, Ryojin, Shintier, Ray, DMC Axel, FX Buster, Twang, Egbo, and Fox in here, Masoma, and Onyx Dude. Stardust, if this is Stardust Rican, you can't sleep on them. Orange, I think, also is like a West Coast Outnum. There are a lot of strong players in this one. This one was very, very difficult for me to pick. And so I did pick a couple different people. I could very well be capping here. Oh, man, I actually forgot. Oh, okay. I think I remember. I remember here. Oh, so this is West Michigan Stardust. Okay. So that changes things. I didn't have either of them getting past Onyx Dude, though, if I'm going to be honest for you. Especially Hyde, that's a matchup that's very common for Onyx. I do have that expected one here. So 2GB, I have I think Ray is going to get to winners quarterfinals here. I think Ray is a strong player that gets in his own head. This is going to be similar to the player that I have going into winners semifinals against 2GIG here. Ryojin versus Ray, anything can happen here. Ryojin is a seasoned player, basically in all of the net play tournaments. Hyde versus Tsurugi, I think, is a pretty explosive matchup too. Oh, sorry, not to disrespect Kotai Kyle too, but I think 2GIG has a lot of experience against Yuzu. I think that he's basically the heavy favorite here. I do think that Ryojin could get him, but I actually picked Ray there. But I have 2GIG over him, 2GIG in the winter semis. Jolene Donuts in here versus Axel. Axel Ethics Buster is more of a toss-up than people would maybe think, but I have Axel winning there too. So this is Axel versus 2GIG in winter semis. Down here, I think it's probably Twang versus Fox. Twang pretty highly favored, I think, here. He gets into winter semifinals. Masoma versus Onyx, I think it's possible for Onyx to win, but I'm going to pick Masoma here. I do have Twang beating Masoma, so that's one thing here. So I have Twang over Masoma, and I have Axel actually beating 2GIG. So this winners finals is Twang versus Axel. So this is another star point here. I have 2GIG losing in pools here. Now, Giuseppe is very nice with it. I think Axel is also really nice with it too. BM, we have not gotten to you yet. We don't know if you drowned or not. So we have Twang actually out in winners here. We have Axel out second here. And then I have 2GIG actually getting out in the loser side. 2GIG over Masoma actually to get out in loser semifinals. So we'll go ahead and move over to B4. This one is the Lid, Twooth, Burr, Mr. B, Arya, Dylan, Vale47, Star _ Shuri pool. Also, this one's quite fucked up. Lid, obviously, the top seed in the pool too. I have Lid getting to winner semifinals. I think we've seen Burr versus Mr. B potentially before, but Burr has a lot of experience against Ori. I think he's very, very good against that character. I actually have Burr moving into winner semifinals here. On the bottom half here, I think I have Vale coming out to face Arya, and Arya winning this. I think Arya goes into Star here. This one could be a trap game for Arya. I think Star definitely could win this, but I actually have Arya getting out here. So Arya into winners finals. And here's the other upset. Burr over Lid. Burr over Lid, winners finals. I don't think it's going to be the Clear Lamp Killer match. I think Lid is going to go down to losers here. Bryce Burr. I have him losing to Arya. So Arya out 1, Bryce out 2. Don't sleep on Bryce. I think Bryce is really good. That said, I think I do have Lid out in the loser side. I think a close set between him and Star ends up going into Lid's favor. So this is Arya. This is an Arya angle. Keep your wives away. Arya versus Bryce. Arya 1, Bryce 2, Lid 3. We'll move this over into D4 now. So now we're at D1 with this stupid ass name. I'm not going to say it. This is Red Blade. We have Red Blade, Norse, Hardbred, Mental Minx, Lena, Boltstruck, Glowdikin, Vice. We got Rena in here. Fridge Big Meat. Shoutouts to Aru, MAS, and IDC. Strong Mika player here. All respect to Norse and Hardbred, who I think is going to make it to round 2 here. I do think that Hardbred versus Minx, Hardbred should have a fair amount of Hilda experience with Low there, and there's a couple other kind of like New York area Hildas. I do think he has enough experience to kind of play that. I think he's a good, strong defensive player there. Red Blade, I think, gets to winner semifinals here. Lena is really good, but I think Bolt has plenty of matchup experience against Yuzuriha. I think this is going to actually probably be a 2-0, but it's close for Boltstruck going into winner semifinals here. On the bottom end, I don't think that there's too many people that can stop Glode from getting to winner semis. Sorry to Vice, sorry to Magikarp and Mari. Fridge Big Meat versus IDC is kind of a toss-up. I don't know if they've really played before. I know they're both Canadian. Aru, I think, is a pretty good Kuon player, but I think I do have IDC going here, so this is IDC versus Glod. Bolt, yeah, probably plays low briefcase a fair amount. I do have Glode getting out into the winners finals here, and so no, it's not Stranger. This is a different Stranger. This Stranger, I think, is also in that region. No, this Stranger, I think, maybe is Southeast. But this actually sets us up for Boltstruck versus Red Blade here in winter semifinals. And I'm sorry to Red Blade. You're probably going to get mad at me. You're going to send me some DMs. But I have Boltstruck 2-1 over Red Blade getting into winners finals. So we're looking at Boltstruck versus Glodikin. Again, I think the matchup experience on Boltstruck's side leads him into winner's side, top 48. So this is looking like a Boltstruck angle for me. Red Blade out at third, Glodikin second. Here we go. We'll move on to D2. This one is Gusu. We have DZ and Lustin, who are two players that I'm familiar with. DZ, player that's been playing since EL, plays Hilda. Lustin plays Merkava, one of our Danison active players. We got Lord Datagram in here, Gamer01, we got Tarek, and we got Spoinkman. All due respect to everybody else in here, I think this is a Spoinkman Gutsu angle for winter semifinals, and I have Gutsu actually beating Spoinkman 2-1 there. On the bottom side, we got Gypped, Junebug, Gravy Jones, Fedbab, and Coco Twinkie. So the way that I see that playing out, I think Bolt and Red are both greedy and indulgent players. I don't know if Red Blade has maybe seen everything that Bolt does. Can I put it on? I'm not going to do that, but you can do that. So yeah, I think that that's going to come to a scramble that Red Blade loses, and that's how Bolt wins that set 2-1. Down here though, Gutsu up top, Gravy Jones versus Infinity is going to be very interesting, and I think Gravy versus Coco Twinkie, also a very interesting set that I think Gravy is going to come out on the edge on. Infinity though, that dude's been playing like a demon. You know, Isaac left and then Infinity picked up the Tyranny. I think he just explodes people. Even though Gypped is also that dude, that one dude. He is the kind of player that I think could ruin a lot of moments for people. But I think Infinity's just way too solid in neutral and on defense. So I have Infinity getting through here. This is setting up to be Infinity versus Gutsu. That being said, Gutsu said that the only hide that he's ever had trouble with is Isaac's. And I think, generally speaking, Gutsu is favored against Isaac. It might have shifted a little closer to even, but I think Gutsu has really strong control in the hide matchup. He has a lot of pride in that matchup. I think Gutsu is going to take a close one over Infinity. So this is Gutsu 1, Infinity 2. And I actually had Spoinkman getting out in losers here. I think we're looking at Spoinkman versus Gravy Jones. Close set. Comes down to it. No disrespect to Gamer 1 here, but I do think that Spoink gets out of that one as well. Noctis, this is D2. Alright, so we're going to go to... Oh, I didn't move this to D. Ghost definitely could fumble his way out. I do think that Spoink generally has a good understanding of playing that matchup, but I think that Ghost definitely could win that one too. Ninth place God. And here's my pool. Wow, look who's in here. We got Hyde in here, Glacy, Revert, myself, Jurassic Ori, Blams, Chalk Demon, Spees, Tydo, Deleted, Tennyson. Untold is actually not going to be there, last I heard. So this actually informed my pick here. If I'm going to be completely honest here, I'm going to be like very transparent. I think that me versus Ori could go either way. When I play them in ranked, our sets go pretty back and forth. If I don't overcommit too hard, I think like I generally tend to get 2-1 wins out of there. But I could definitely lose to Ori. Like I think that one's a toss up. Me versus Revert. Revert, I think, was beating me at the start of the version when I played them in ranked. But I think I've won the last like 2 to 3 ranked sets that I've played with them. I honestly feel very comfortable in the Line matchup up to this point. There's some stuff that I specifically prepared for him too. So we'll see. I don't know why Glacy's down there, but you'll actually hear something funny from me here. That being said, I have Revert, and Hyde is there too. Glacy Hyde in round 2 is actually fucking crazy. Nevertheless, I do have Revert getting out in winner's side here. This is actually no. Wait a minute. Do I? Do I have him winning? 1 second. No. Okay. Yeah. My bad. Haha. I don't, actually. I have Revert getting the winners finals, and I have Chalk Demon actually winning that one. That's funny. So I do have Revert getting out there. But Chalk Demon, I think, takes this pool. I had to check the script. So this comes down to the last person to get out of this pool. I like kind of looked around. I looked at like how this would have to be searched and like shifted through, and I'm like, there's like chock full of matchups that I don't want to see down there. I can't beat Glacy in tournament. I don't want to see her. A run back with Ori could go either way. I don't want to fucking see Tennyson either. You know, like it's so fucked. But when does this tournament start? I think like either 11 on Friday or some shit like that. The one that I picked to get out of this is Glacy. I have myself drowning in pools. I have Glacy as the third person out here. So, and Blams. I think Blams is really good too. Yeah, I have Glacy. Glacy out in third. This is Chalk Demon 1, Revert 2, Glacy 3. So there is a Midwest rep here. It's going to be Glacy. It's not going to be me. I get to chill and kick back and watch everybody else kill each other. Or I get to curse someone by beating them, just like I did to Silent one year. Because I picked him to beat me too, and he didn't do it. So we'll go ahead and move over to D4. That's I'm getting you guys on game. I pick people to beat me in pools, and then I beat them in pools. So that's Juushichi's trick, allegedly. All right. Yeah, this is Silicon Pool here. All right, so we have Max Verstappen. We have Alt, Silicon, CG, Suna, Chunky Monkey, Hammy, Just Evan, Killer Kitty, Banjo. We got BM in here, and we have Nega Reaper and Triplicate. This is going to be a crazy, crazy pool. I didn't pick it. I'm sorry, Suna. I do have you losing the CG, but I believe you can do it. I definitely believe you can do it. I believe in you and what we talked about last night. I think if you lock down that, you have more than enough tools to get there. Nevertheless, either one of those people I think is losing to Silicon to get to winners finals. On the lower side, oh, Panterbell is also really strong too. Uh, this one here, BM versus Nega Reaper. Someone needs to record this set. Someone needs to record this one post haste. If someone doesn't record this, I'm going to be pissed. Hell, Triplicate versus Shub. If someone doesn't pick this, I swear to God, I need someone to pick that. That said, BM I have taking it, and Evan I actually have taking it over BM. So this is set up to be a Silicon versus just Evan angle. And, oh, Trip can't make it? Okay, so this is the Nega Reaper versus BM angle here. I have Evan out in winners. Silicon out in losers. So that's your 1 and 2 here. Down here, I have BM. Now, the Atom Bomb here is Nega Reaper. Nega Reaper could fuck everything up. That dude will DP you. He'll do anything. He does not give a fuck. So if you don't have composure, and I know BM had composure issues in the past, he could get got. I think CG could get got by him. Yeah, Mr. Reaper will reap. I think he could get out, but I do have BM getting out in losers. So we can move this to the E-pools. Bam. This one is E1. We have Rurik, Wormadon, Atlas Omega, Fajita Ida, April, I That Guy, the other Wish, Northeast Wish. We have Yona, Pinku, Zoe, who is playing Aurier at this point, Bolt Strike, and Stray Light P. I'm going to be pretty honest. The top side looks pretty favorable for Rurik. Rurik versus April is a pretty familiar matchup. Even though I think April has pushed Rurik, I do think that Rurik is going to get out here. April versus TG. Very, very interesting one there, too. This is a matchup that TG does have a lot of experience in. This is looking like Byakuya versus Merkava. I think he and Hunter was like a large look into like how old NA used to play that matchup. On the other side, we do have Pinku. I think Pinku Yono could be interesting. The real shit, I don't know what character Pinku is going to play. They've been playing like Byakuya recently. They could play Uzuki. They could play Aurier. I have no idea what Pinku is going to play. I do think that Pinku's game sense is strong enough to get them to winter semifinals here. Bolt versus Stray Light P, I think is going to be interesting. Bolt Strike, look, it's Bolt's world and we're living in it. Anything could happen in Bolt's world. That said, I think Pinku, the style of play that Pinku does have, generally tends to lend itself to beat players like Bolt Strike. So I do have Pinku here. Stray Light P, I think that Yokai maybe got the redheaded stepchild treatment in ST, but I think that they were a strong Wagner in and of themselves. Their Kaguya, I think, is very potent. They've been playing pretty actively. Excuse me. They've been playing pretty actively soon too. So we'll get a new character matchup between Uzuki and Kaguya. I have no idea what that matchup looks like. I've basically never seen it. I think it's going to be even worse if Bolt goes Mika. I don't think Pinku's characters are good for that one there. Pinku Rurik also going to be a banger set. I do have Rurik actually beating Pinku. So Rurik out in winners, Pinku out in losers. And then again, loser side, Bolt's world, anything can happen. TG can scrap his way. You know, it feels like every time we forget about him, he's kind of pulling himself into the brackets, the next stages. But I actually have April getting out third here too. So this is Rurik, Pinku, April. Over here, this is the Shaylee pool. We have Shaylee, Deeps, LPT, Ryan Hunter, Snappy, Geo Commander, Mick, DBZ Formers, Wish, and Ayer. I'm not going to lie to you. Shaylee Deeps, that one can go either way. I think that Deeps very certainly can beat Shaylee. No disrespect to Shaylee, I just think that that's how strong Deeps is. Uh, Deeps, I think, is one of those players that, because he's a commentator, we don't get to see him, take the commentator jacket off too much. I think Deeps. I also think that Gordo can probably fight Kuan in spaces as well. That said, I do have Shaylee here. LPT Ryan Hunter. I don't know how much Ryan has been playing. I know for a while he was like really, really active. I think I'm going to pick LPT here, not LTP, excuse me. On the bottom side, no disrespect, but I think this is a snappy angle. Yeah, that is true. I think that this one is a snappy angle, though. Snappy out in winners. I think it was Shaylee. Yeah, snappy Shaylee. So 1-2 here. The person that I did pick to get out, yeah, Snappy Wish I think is going to be a little scary. But I think if Snappy plays Wagner, I think it's going to be less scary. I do think Wish plays generally well into Chaos, but like Snappy's defense is top class. Top class, top class. His neutral is also top class too. You think he's going to lose to Pai Channel? Really? I don't think so. I actually have Wish getting out third in this pool too. That was more of a hunch. I think LPT could get it. I think Deeps could get it. If Ryan Hunter has been active in playing, I think he could get it. And that's not to sleep on Geo Commander too. Geo Commander is really good. Geo Commander is an extremely good player. He just happened to run into Snappy here early. All right, so second to last pool. This is the Rakir, Meganekon, Malarkey, Texas Hammer, Suika, Luca, Fox of Aura Dude, Enroll unfortunately not going, Mocha, and Vincent pool. This one was hard to pick. This one was very, very, very hard to pick. The particular trap games here, Aura Dude Fox of, I think, is a trap game here in Winner's Quarters. Vincent versus Mocha, I think, is a toss-up. Rakir Malarkey, I think, could get pretty interesting. Luca versus Ibiki. Suika, I mean, Texas Hammer versus Suika, I think also could get real interesting here. Yeah, this is the Rakir. That said, I think I do have Rakir getting to Winners Finals. I think that Suika can beat Rakir. I don't think it's as likely, but I think it's possible. I think Foxov could lose to Vincent. I think it's less likely that he loses to Mocha if Mocha gets there. But I have Foxov here, and I actually have Foxov over Rakir in Winners. Yeah, Enroll is not going, unfortunately. So Rakir 2, Foxov 1, and I had a real tough time picking between Suika and Vincent, but I gave the nod to Vincent. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I gave the nod to... Wait, hold on. Sorry, I gotta double check. Did I give the nod to Vincent? Yes, I did. Okay, I did. Didn't want to reveal everything yet. So I do have Vincent getting out here in third place, which leads us to our last pool. This one has Silent, Endless, Tama, Flank Roast, Axon, Psychotic, Ryer, Miso, Moon Cookies, Mark, and Imp. All due respect, while I think that Tama Flank could be a banger here. Tama is another one. I don't know what fucking character he's deciding to play. No idea what character Tama is going to play. I think Endless versus Silent here could be a trap game. Endless Line, really strong. I think it's won a major at this point. Flank Roast versus Tama. I don't know what. So Flank could play Vatista here. He could play another one of his characters. I don't really know. That said, I think Tama close one over Flank Roast. I do think Silent wins a close 2-0 over Endless. And I have Silent 2-1 over Tama into winners finals here. I think Psychotic kind of sweeps through this pool. Moon Cookie's Mark could be interesting. Psychotic Moon Cookies even more interesting. But I think Psychotic probably takes this. And then I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I'll be transparent. It hasn't ended up working out, but since last year's Combo Breaker, I've tried to get an exhibition between Silent versus Psychotic. That has been one of my dream matchups. Like, I want a long set between the two of them. I'm talking like first to 7, first to 10. That's like a premier match that I would love to see. We're going to only get a first to 2 with it, I think, in winners here. And I have Silent taking that 2-1. So this is a Silent angle out in 1. The second for Psychotic. And then I actually have Tama over Moon Cookies to get out in losers. So this is a Silent, Psychotic, Tama angle, which now I can close out basically all of the rest of these and get into our top 48. Bam, here we go. So we can all see this. Not that one, F11. So we got all of the pools. Here at the bottom, you can see pools, top 48 to 16, top 16 to top 8, and top 8 to the final. We are in our bracket now. The stars that I put here are players that I think could, I named them ruinous candidates here. So I think Garm Hyde could change the dynamic of the pool if he decided to play it. But with the assumption that Garm was playing Hilda, I had Captain Sugar here. I have Safe potentially making a big splash here. Squish obviously can do it too. Storytime and KFL having splashes here. Tari, Kao, Akimi. This one I didn't think that there would be too many upsets. Masoma versus 2GIG I think is going to be the interesting one here. I did have Lid getting out, but Star and Mr. B I had, so on and so forth. You can see them here on the screen. These are what it's looking like here. Your name is up there. You were mentioned as a potential candidate to ruin some things. We'll linger it there. So our winner side here, Big Black Mo, Defiant, Mario, Knots, Nephros, Twang, Arya, Boltstruck, Gutsu Gutsu, Troc Demon, Evan, Rurik, Snappy, Foxov, and Silent. Now, let's go into our top 48. There's a lot to look at here. Player 1. So what I did do, so I will exit the full screen here. You can see all of these kind of point through here. You know, A1 versus E4. I had to basically track all of that information in here. We got the Google Sheet wizardry. We'll go straight from the top and just go down from here. BB narrowly edges Silent here in our first top 48 matchup. We got Arya versus Boltstruck. I think Bolt kind of sweeps this. I have the opinion that Bolt Nanase could probably run over Arya, so I do have that 2-1 there. Mario versus Rick seems to go back and forth. But I actually picked Mario here over Rick. Knots versus Evan, I think, is going to be so close. That one is a huge potential trap for Knots, but I have Knots there. Mo over Foxov, 2-1. I do have the pick here. Unfortunately for Twang, I think Gutsu Gutsu is really strong against Akatsuki. I'm going to pick him over Twang. Twang, I think, is pretty solid against Aurier, but I think the level of Aurier that Gutsu Gutsu is going to present is going to be more difficult. So, yep. Defiant versus Snappy is a toss-up that I'm giving to Snappy. I mentioned before that there were like 3 different players that I thought Defiant could lose to. Snappy is the one that I think that's going to get him. Nephros versus Troc Demon. This one, that matchup has gotten better and better for Lena over time, but I believe in Troc a little bit too much here. I'm going to pick Troc Demon here 2-1. In losers, Revert versus Carp. I don't think Carp wants to see this one. I think Revert kind of takes it. I think it's going to be pretty contentious, but I'm picking Carp here. Tama versus Rockhawk. I'm going to pick Tama here. This one I really wasn't sure about. I was like really back and forth, but I ended up going with Tama. Shaylee, I think, is going to win 2-1. I don't think it's going to be that close, though. Carp probably usually wins, but tournament, I think, kind of gets it a little funky here. Red Blade versus Gray. I thought this was going to be the mirror, but if it's Eltnum, I could see Red Blade 2-0 there. Infinity versus Brandon. I have Infinity 2-1 here. DMC Axel versus April. I have Axel. I think that he controls the matchup against Merkava very well. I have him winning there. Rakir versus Spinach. This matchup has been happening throughout the entire lifespan of this game, but I do have Rakir edging it out. We have Captain Sugar versus BM. Sorry, this is the Line Rat matchup versus Byakuya. I have Captain Sugar here. Garmfield versus Silicon. I was really hard on picking that one. I ended up picking Garm. I do think that if it's Hilda Hyde, Silicon could win this, but I ended up picking Garm. Mob Murabito versus Vincent. I do think that Mob Murabito has a lot of experience against Carmine. I don't know if there's equivalent kind of knowledge for Vincent against Merkava, so I picked Mob Murabito there. 2GIG, I think, beats Pinku. I think the character spread that Pinku wants to play into Carmine is probably not that favorable. Pinku puts up a good fight, but I do have 2GIG there. I know, right? I'm going to get clipped out of concept. It's going to be crazy. Kaji versus Spoinkman was one that I actually wanted to pick Spoinkman in, but I think Kaji is leveled up just enough to be able to edge Spoinkman there. Kaji also plays Gutsu Gutsu a lot. This is the one that I was like really iffy on. Glowed versus Smiles, I wasn't sure on. I thought that was going to be a toss-up, but I went with Smiles on this one. Then we got Burr versus Wishy. Well, it is Climax of Night. There is going to be some edging going on. Pause, unpause, whatever. You better drop subs for all these clips that you're going to get from me. Fuck you guys. I do have Wishy getting a slight win over Burr here. And then Klim versus Psychotic, another matchup that we've seen all the way since EL. I think Psychotic generally tends to win these. And then Omnideeg versus Glacy. Glacy's run, I think, is going to be ended by... oh, I've been sipping. Thank you, Karma. I would appreciate it even more if you dropped to Twitch Prime, maybe. Wink, wink. That'll keep me hydrated for the future. I do have Omnideeg over Glacy 2-0 here. So, that sets us up for Losers Round 2. This is Revert into Tama. Again, I'm not entirely sure what fucking character that Tama is going to play. I think Tama has probably played Revert a lot. I'm going to assume that Revert actually tends to win those. I'm picking Revert here. Well, I'm not going to stream tomorrow. I'm sorry. Shaylee versus Red Blade. Shaylee, I think, certainly could beat Red Blade here, but I know Red has been talking about how comfortable he feels in the matchup now. I think that losers bracket Red, as we saw like his demonic sprint through his last Climax of Night, it's going to be real tough to beat him while he's in losers. Infinity over Axel. No disrespect to Axel, I think Infinity is too solid on the defensive and offensive side. I'm picking Infinity here. Tom versus Rakir. If Rakir was playing in Kidu, I'd probably pick Captain Sugar, but I don't think that Tom probably has a whole lot of experience against Landrakia, and Rakir gets to fight Revert when he wants. There's plenty of Lines. You have Killimine up there as well. So I have Rakir taking that one. Garm versus Mob Murabito. The only reason, I'm going to be completely honest, the only reason I have Mob Villager picked here is because I don't think Garm is going to play Hyde. I think Garm sticks to Hilda to the end of the bracket, and this is where the bracket ends for Garmfield. 2GIG versus Kaji. I mean, 2GIG is played against the best Landrakias in the world. Kaji does have access to notes, but I just think 2GIG is too strong. Smiles versus Wishy. It's not a particularly good matchup for Wald, I think, but Smiles should have enough experience. Wish's defense has gotten so much better, but I think Smiles is going to scramble him enough to be able to take that. And then here's an upset. Sorry, Joe. I actually have Omnideek kind of taking it. I do think that Eltnum versus Wald is pretty tough for Wald. I think the way that Omni tends to structure his pressure and his offense is going to make things really, really awkward for the types of OSs that Wald has to do. I got Omni here 2-1. That sets us up here for losers round 3. Silent versus Rakir. Silent's been playing hot. I think Rakir is going to take a game, but I have Silent here. Arya versus Infinity. This one, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This was all vibes. This was all gut feeling. I think I'm gonna believe in Arya to go a little bit further. So he's going to end Infinity's run. Rurik versus Redblade. I think Red wins that. Red has said that he's felt very comfortable in this matchup. I think Red has been picking apart Yuzu players recently too. I got Red here. Just Evan versus Revert is going to be a very, very close set, but I do believe in the Line over Byakuya. Foxov versus Omni. Foxov kind of historically has a little bit of trouble against Eltnum. I know he had considered playing Vatista against him the last time that they played when he was still playing Landrakia. I think Foxov very narrowly gets one over Omni. And then Twang versus Smiles. Akatsuki versus Wald. I think Twang gang, I'm going to believe in him. I'm going to have Twang here. Defiant has played 2GIG plenty of times. This is another potential matchup that Defiant could lose, but I don't think he will. I got Defiant here. And then Nephros versus Mob Murabito. I got to believe in Neph here. So, we have our placements. 33rd, Carp. Rockhawk, Lid, Grey Faden. Let me change this. This is now Eltnum. There we go. Kai, April, Spinach, BM, Silicon, Vincent, Pinku, who knows who they're going to play. Spoinkman, Glodikin, Bryce Burr, Clem, Glacy. Tied for 25th. Tama, don't know who they're going to play. Shaylee, Axel, Captain Sugar, Garmfield, Kaji, Wish, Psychotic. Tied for 17th, Rakir, Infinity, Rurik, Evan, Omnideek, Smiles, 2GIG, and Mob Murabito. That leads us here, top 16. Top 16 winners, Big Black versus Boltstruck, Mario versus Knots, Mosin versus Gutsu Gutsu, Snappy versus Chalk. Loser side, Revert versus Arya, Silent versus Redblade, Foxa versus Defiant, Twang versus Nephros. We'll go down the row here. Big Black Boltstruck. I think these two have played online a lot before. Boltstruck, I think, is very competent against Byakuya. Big Black has just gotten signed. I think he's still kind of going to carry it. I believe in Big Black's defense to weather the storm against Boltstruck and take his turn and win on those single interactions. Mario versus Knots, I think, has gone both ways. I believe in Mario a little bit more in the short set here, especially if it's going to be Wagner versus Seth. Mosin versus Gutsu Gutsu. This one's a pick'em. I think Gutsu Gutsu has a fair amount of experience against Kuon. I don't think that any Japanese Kuon is as good as Mo is. I'm going to pick Mo to take that one there. Snappy versus Chalk Demon, another toss-up. I think we might have seen this one at a tournament before. I want to say Snappy got the better end of that one. I'm picking Chalk this one. I'm a Chalk believer. So what this says is top 8 for Chalk Demon. Did I curse him? Did I bless him? We'll see. Arya's magic run ends at the hand of Revert again? Question mark. Got Revert taking that one. Silent versus Red Blade. I wanted to pick Silent here. I'm a big Silent believer. I think losers bracket Red is crazy. This one's going to be a toss-up. I have Red taking it. Foxa versus Defiant. This one, I'm going to expect to be Laundrakia versus Vatista. This one, honestly, I think Defiant wants it more. Yeah, that's pretty fair. I think Defiant wants it more. I think Defiant wants to qualify. Foxov isn't quite in his kind of lazy era. I know that there's not as much stress to compete at like the tippy top level. I think Defiant probably makes a couple plays to win that one. Sorry, Twang. I think Nephros is very good against Akatsuki. I do think that you're very good against Line, but I have Nephros here. 2-0. No, Foxov is not playing Lond at all. He's locking completely into Vatista. This one is Vat versus Lond, I'm pretty sure. That leads us to losers qualifiers. Revert versus Gusugutsu. Red Blade versus Snappy. Defiant versus Boltstruck. Nephros versus Knots. Revert Gusugutsu. I think Gusugutsu is extremely good against Line. I think that he is so good against that character. Tokyo area has a lot of Lines historically. I know he used to play against Time Upper, aka Jikangire. Revert is going to push it, but I believe in Gusugutsu. I think he's crazy. He also does have a pocket Line. Gusugutsu has like a pocket everyone. Oh, that reminds me. So those of you who play a bunch of characters, so like Defiant and Tama, Snappy, so on and so forth, play an Iron Man with Gusugutsu if you have the chance. Gusugutsu has a million characters. He's very good at playing all of them. I was going to present that as an exhibition, Gusugutsu versus Defiant, in kind of like an Iron Man, you pick about 10. But yeah, no. I'm going to pick Gusugutsu here. Red Blade versus Snappy. This one was a toss-up. I think Snappy definitely can beat Red Blade. I think losers bracket Red. Until I see someone really stop him, I'm going to believe in it. So I think Red really didn't like losing to Boltstruck. He's going to storm his way back into top 8. Defiant versus Bolt. This is a classic matchup. Defiant, I know, hates fighting Boltstruck. Boltstruck, I'm pretty sure, is just happy to be here. He's going to be vibing out. Garm versus Gutsu Iron Man would be heat too. I'd love to see that. I do have Defiant taking it. Defiant honestly like plays a bunch of matchups that I think he could lose, but he just keeps winning. Win, win, win. He gets in the top 8. Nephros versus Knots. I think Seth Line could kind of go either way potentially. I think Nephros' defense is really good, but I think the way that Knots structures his pressure, the plays that he's willing to make, gives the edge over to Knots. And so Knots is our last top 8 qualifier. We've been listening to Phone on Steam. We're going to change it to something else to end us out here into top 8. We'll go Kaguya. Neff also played Seth, but I think Knots is a slight step ahead of him as a player. So here's our placements. Arya, Silent. Foxov and Twang, 13th place. Revert, Snappy, Boltstruck's first major, 9th place. Something about the Canadians, first major is 9th place. I don't know what's up with that. And then Nephros at 9th as well. So that puts us into top 8. Our top 8 players: Big Black, Mario, Mosin, Chalk Demon, Defiant, Knots, Gusugutsu, Red Blade. This one here, this one is my kind of, it's not a toss-up, The reasoning behind Mario over Big Black 2-1 here. What place did I curse you at, Evan? 17th place. I think BB, even though he's going to get the sponsor buff, BB is already qualified for Arc World Tour. He's won Climax in the past. I don't think he's that hungry to win this event. I think he's going to be very hungry to win Arc World Tour. And so this is the reason that I have Big Black at the place that you can see him at. I have Mario over him here. Mosin versus Chalk Demon. I think that one's going to be back and forth, but I think Mo has enough tricks on his sleeve. Chalk Demon, I do think that the tournament final stage is a different stage if you've never tasted it before. Mo has been here before. He's executed at a high level. I'm taking Mo here. Defiant versus Knots. This is where Defiant's 3-game sets finally come to a close. I think Knots is going to take it very, very close 2-1. Gusu Gusu Red Blade. This one's a pick'em. I think that, man, I think it could go either way, but I'm going to pick Red Blade here. Knots versus Chalk Demon. We saw it happen. There's a long, like, hour and 30 minutes, something like that, set between Chalk and Knots. It was back and forth toward the end, but Knots had control of it, I think, throughout. I think it's looking about the same in top 6. Knots over Chalk Demon. Red Blade, I think the steam finally wears out. I don't think that he can ascend the mountain that's BB. I have him finally falling here. That leads us to winners finals. Mario, I think, is going to get off to a good start, but I think Mo's too solid, too strong. I think Mario can have the ability to get tilted, and Mo's mentality doesn't really allow him to do that. I think we're going to get really contested 3 games, and then Mo's just going to kind of take the last one here. So I have 3-1 there. Knots versus Big Black. For a similar reason why I think I have Mario over Big Black. Again, Big Black's already qualified. This is for pride, not to say that he's not going to continue to see it through to the end. I think he does want to win back-to-back, especially if this is the last climax. Honestly, like, on the flip side, because he's qualified for Arc World Tour, it doesn't matter if he wins or not, so he could just go out there and win. That said, I think Knots is hungry to qualify. I have it taking 2-1 there. It was a very close set before. That leads us back to the run back of Knots versus Mario. You guys saw that I had Mario defeating Knots here 2-1 in winners. I think with the longer set and kind of fresh off of the loss to Mo, I have Knots taking it very narrowly. This is a qualifier match for Arc World Tour. I think Knots is going to qualify for Arc Tour. That leads us to Knots versus Mosin. I think first set, hot off the momentum of beating Mario. He's going to push Mo. It's going to go back and forth, 3-2. But I actually have Mo taking the entire tournament, 3-1 in the reset. Congratulations to Mo. Congratulations to Knots for qualifying for the Arc World Tour spot. So there you go. Gusu Gusu, 7th place. Defiant, 7th place. Chalk Demon, 5th. Red Blade, 5th. 4th for Big Black. 3rd for Mario. 2nd for Knots. And Mosin, the champion. There we go. It took about an hour and a half, but we got it in there. 400 something fucking people down to the final. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win? I picked Mo. There's so many things, like you saw, there's nothing but 2-1 sets here. There's nothing but fucking 2-1 sets basically here, and even here. It was hard, man. It took me like 2 hours to get there. Top 1 Aurier could happen. I think Gusu Gusu could win this tournament. I don't think that he can get through all of these names, though. Whew. That was a doozy. I talked spiritually for quite a bit. Quick prediction for Team USA versus the world. No, you're not going to get that. See me in the crowd side betting. you can get my prediction there. I don't have anything to say on that one. Good luck to both teams. It's going to be a real fun set to watch. I don't have any predictions for the Danielson exhibition either. I believe in the Midwest, but if you want my actual opinion, see me in the crowd. We'll side bracket. Yeah, you can get my prediction for a couple bucks. We can wager for my prediction there. Oh yeah, side bets are going to be crazy. And my ass, as you can see, I didn't make top 48 here. I'm going to be chilling. I'm going to be chilling. Come see me. I'll get some cash out. We are going to be side betting. Whew. All right. So, with that said, we have the whole prediction here. Am I side betting Danny Violence? Maybe. I might be commentating Danny Violence. We'll see. Actually, no. I think I abstained from that. Side bet with snacks instead. I mean, you paid money for the snacks. What's the difference? We can side bet for $2. I don't care. Oh yeah, beer trade. I'm not going to be drinking with my medicine. I kind of talked about it on Twitter. I've been having some GI issues. I'm not going to drink at all this weekend. So if you were thinking about buying me a drink instead, you can buy me a beverage that's not alcoholic. I'm not going to be drinking any alcohol. So have a good time exchanging alcohol and drinking. I'm going to abstain this weekend.